In this video, I'm going to show you how to write, publish, and promote your best-selling business book so that you land your first client within 90 days. And in doing so, you unlock your next level of credibility, authority, status, and recognition so that you can attract better clients, get paid bigger fees, all by writing a book, even if you're not a confident writer, and get it published and land that first client within 90 days. If you've ever thought that all the Instagram ads and the Facebook hacks telling you how to get clients aren't really selling you a solution, they're just another shiny distraction, you're probably right. They don't benefit from you succeeding. They want to keep you in need of that next hack, the next trick, the next tactic. The difference with what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to build an enduring marketing asset. It's not some thin or temporary tactic. I truly want to see you living the life of your dreams, and I want to see you build a business of your dreams today. And today I'm going to show you a way to attract clients and build your business that's worked for over 100 years. Now, this is one of my favorite quotes. What's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? It's from the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. What I found is that using a book as the centerpiece of your marketing is the one thing for attracting better clients and getting paid much bigger fees. Now, I'm guessing this is probably not the first presentation you've ever been to. The first thing I want to mention is that if you failed at writing a book or at attracting clients who pay premium fees in the past, I want you to let yourself off the hook. It's not your fault. There's a ton of information out there and it can be really confusing. Often the thing that's keeping you from success is that information overload. There's just too much out there and it's okay. So today, I want to give you a little bit of a word of warning. You're going to see some examples from other industries and other professions. There's a danger in dismissing them. So I ask that you come to this with an open and abundant mind. And the very best way to think outside of your box is to get inside someone else's box and see what's working in there. So, deal? If you've been concerned in the past that you just can't write a book or that your future ideal clients won't read it, I want to put those fears to rest. You can do this. You just need the right person to explain it to you. In the past 12 years, I've had an amazing chance to write 5 books that have helped me build a business and financial freedom. And I've also been able to help other people write their first or their second or their third book. But it wasn't always that way. In fact, just a few short years ago, I was just like you. I was trying to build a business and having some success, but it felt like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. I would land a few clients one month, then the next, nothing. And I was constantly networking and trying to find every new shiny tactic, but nothing ever worked consistently. My business was brand new and unproven. In the early days, my wife Erin was working 2 jobs to help support us. I wanted to make more money to support our new life and our combined 4 kids. Back then, all 6 of us were crammed into this tiny little 2,000 square foot house. What I really wanted was to figure out how do we move out of that house, build our dream home, and have the place that our kids would call home for the rest of their lives. To do that, I tried every way to attract clients you can imagine. I networked, I gave talks at associations, I ran ads, I did direct mail, I posted on social media, I blogged, I wrote a daily email newsletter. 1,200 newsletters over 4 years. Yet nothing worked consistently. I kept having to learn new tactics, and all that did was cost more time, and it really killed my confidence. Around that time, I was talking with Ian Brody. He's a marketer from the UK. I was telling him about this new approach to referrals that I'd been teaching, and he loved the idea. He invited me to come share it with all of his followers on a webinar, and after the webinar, he told me that my method was the first new thinking on referrals in decades and that I should write a book. Well, I didn't want to tell Ian at the time, but the problem was I tried to write a book twice in the year and a half before that. And that silly little blinking cursor on the page was so intimidating. I'd get started on a book and I'd have all of this energy and this caffeine flowing and I'd be going strong for a few hours and I'd crank out a couple of chapters and then I'd stall and I'd set it aside and I'd come back the next day and I'd realize I'd gone off track and that little blinking cursor in the blank page got me. And I'll never forget sitting at this rickety old dining table in our too small for 6 people house, staring at my laptop after deleting that second book thinking, I know that a book is going to give me huge credibility. When I look around in the industry, all of the other consultants that are really successful have a book, and I know it's going to attract the clients that I wanted. So why can't I get past the first few chapters? Well, a few weeks after my conversation with Ian, I tried again, and now with a different approach. I discovered in those first 2 attempts that the methods I used for organizing short writing projects just didn't work for a book. So I holed myself up in my office on a Saturday, and I told my wife I wasn't coming out until I'd outlined this new book in extreme detail. And by 4 p.m. that afternoon, I had it. I started writing the next morning, and in about 35 days, I finished that very first book. Now I had a book that had all of my best ideas, and it could go out and sell to potential clients for me. I started reaching out to people in my network and telling them that I'd written a book, and people were genuinely excited. Some asked if I'd share an early copy with them, so I did. I sent them a copy. And I was really shocked at the excitement and the sincere willingness to help me share the book when it was finally published. So about a month later, we launched the book, Unstoppable Referrals, and 15 people from my network shared the book for me. And some of them had pretty good-sized email lists. Others had small networks. Before the launch, I remember reading that the average nonfiction book sells about 300 copies over its lifetime. And I thought, well, if I can beat that in the launch, it'd be a huge win. I just had no idea what to expect. And I was running, at the time, a small little 1.5 person marketing firm in the 11th largest city in Florida. And so to say that I was small was an understatement. Our entire email database of prospects was under 1,000 people. The week of the launch, my 15 promoters sent out emails that I'd written for them announcing the book and offering a special deal. And I watched the sales start to take off. And the first few days, things really accelerated. I started hitting Amazon bestseller status, first in a small category and then in marketing and then in the main business category. And for a few days, it was the #1 selling business book on Amazon. In about a week, over 5,000 potential clients grabbed a copy of my book. It was totally mind-blowing. I never expected anything like that to happen. That week, we went from a small 1.5 person local firm to a globally known authority on marketing, just like that. That's the power of a book. As exciting as that is, I've been able to share these frameworks with hundreds of other entrepreneurs who are now authors. I've watched my friend John Curry use his books to create dozens of referrals each week and create 3 record-setting years in a row in his financial practice. I've celebrated as Charlie Moon is easily reaching and landing whale clients he couldn't get meetings with before, and I've loved watching Mike Koenigs generate $1 million in new revenue in the first 30 days after launching his new AI book. In fact, here's what Mike had to say about the experience.
Hi, my name is Mike Koenigs. I'm the author of AI Accelerator. The subtitle is How to 10x Your Productivity, Clone Your Smartest Employees, and Monetize Your IP in the New Economy. Now, I'm going to tell you, first of all, the most powerful thing you can ever do to grow your brand is to write a book. And the situation that caused me to work with $1 Million author and Steve Gordon in the first place is I wanted to get my AI book done in time for Peter Diamandis' Abundance 360 conference. And sharing it with that audience was a huge opportunity for my business and my fractional AI company. Now, time was really tight. And when I met with Steve and his team, the conference was 23 days away. Now, if you'd ever go to someone and say, hey, I need to write a book, a really good book in 23 days. In my case, this is my 19th book. And in the past, almost all of my books, other than my previous 3, were all done 100% by myself. I had no one supporting me. My last 3, I had a ghost writer who took care of the writing part. But unfortunately, she wasn't available. And I was in a situation where there was no way I could get it done without getting support. And what happened with Steve is, number 1, he said yes to an impossible deadline. Number 2, he was on it right from the start. He was extremely proactive. He anticipated the obstacles, and he knew how to deal with someone like me who is, let's not just say easy. I've got a complex voice. I speak to very high-level clients and customers, and you can tell right away if something isn't written like me just because I'm kind of bold, a little bit brash. And what was great about it is they made it happen. They made it easy. So what happened was Steve and the $1 Million author team delivered the finished book to the printer in 13 days, including handling some last minute changes that, yep, this is what I do. And I also had a ready for print book in 13 days, which again is almost impossible. I had hundreds of them delivered at the event that looked really good. Now the book was printed, it was delivered to my hotel a day early, and it was published to Amazon so attendees could buy it. So here's something else that was really good. This is the hardcover version. And if you haven't seen Amazon hardcover books before, these things are beautiful. The paperback turned out great. So did the Kindle. The team took care of formatting, which is another pain in the butt. And I think what was also important is I made a second pass at it. Peter Diamandis did the forward initially, but I asked for some blurbs from a whole bunch of other, pretty big names, including Dan Sullivan, Jack Canfield. So we did that update and also got it ready for the next big event, which was Strategic Coaches CoachCon event. Now, one thing that's really important about my books, with the exception of a book about cancer that I wrote after I had cancer, out of all 19 of the books I've written, 18 of them have produced $1 million in revenue in less than 100 days. This one produced over $1 million in revenue in less than 30 days. So again, I think what's really important is anytime you're writing a book, what's really valuable, what's really important is get it done fast, get it done right, and get it done in your voice. So I think this is really important is now that I've been working with Steve and his team, first of all, they're super responsible. They're hyper responsive. They know how to deal with crazy founders and entrepreneurs like us. And now I'm referring my friends and my clients to them as well. So what I'd say to anyone considering working with $1 million author team and Steve is don't hesitate. They're pros, they're fast, they take care of things, they listen, and most importantly, they do it right and they do it in your voice. I can't stress that enough. Writing a book is hard enough the way it is. You don't want anyone interfering with the process and saying no and making you adhere to all kinds of impossible to deal with rules that just are incompatible with crazy founders and entrepreneurs like us. So overall, I can just say it was a wonderful experience. They're amazing folks. They're fast and they get it, and it's not a fight. And that's what we need so we can just do what we do best, which is innovate, create, and do more business.
Isn't Mike's story great? Now, here's what we're going to cover in this video. Secret number 1, transformation, not textbook. So this is all about how to design your book so that clients can't wait to hire you. Then we're going to talk about secret number 2, the inverted viral launch. And this is how you get instant ROI on your book and go and create a buzz in your market. And then secret number 3, the referral multiplier, how to turn even a small network into an ever-expanding pipeline of new clients. Now, I'm going to share a bonus with you too. I was told just last Thursday by a potential client that someone had offered to show him how to get bestseller status on Amazon, and they were going to charge him $15,000. And I said, that's a total scam. I'm going to show you how to do it today in this video in 10 minutes for free. Deal? So let's talk about secret number 1. And I call this transformation, not textbook. And this is all about what goes into your book so that you put the right things in the right order so that clients can't wait to hire you. And this is the framework that we use to get clients jumping at the chance to work with you. So take out a pen and paper to take notes because I'm going to walk you through this framework. I call it transformation, not textbook. And if you're ever worried that you're going to give away too much in your book and then clients won't need you, then this is the answer. So a little bit of background. A client came to us after he'd written his book and he was frustrated that he wasn't getting good results. And at first, I couldn't figure out what the problem was. He had an award-winning book in his industry. And I started comparing his book to others that were successful. And I realized he'd made a critical error that I want you to avoid. He'd written a textbook that taught how to implement his system in minute detail. The other books I compared it to, they wrote about the transformation of the reader from where they are today to where they want to be. When you focus on the transformation journey instead of the step-by-step textbook instructions, you never have to worry about giving away too much. It's what readers and prospects want. They want to see the path from A to B, the vision. So the framework is simple. There are 4 parts. Step 1, transformation A to B. Step 2, unique mechanism, what we call the yellow brick road. Step 3, bigger, better future, or the Oz experience. Step 4, best case, worst case. And this is where we create emotional contrast. The best prospects want to see the path that will take them from where they are to where they want to be. My podcast prospecting book is a great example of this approach. Right after we launched it, a partner shared it, and within 48 hours, we'd landed a $30,000 client. That client wanted to be transformed. He did not want to transform himself. All right, let's get into transformation A to B. You want to start your book where your ideal client is right now. What are they struggling with? What are their hopes and desires for the future? And what that sets the start and the end of that transformation. We start with what are they struggling with? We end with what does this bigger, better future look like? Next, you want to lay out your unique mechanism. This is the series of high-level steps you'll take your prospect through on the journey from A to B. This is your secret sauce. Now, you may not think you have a secret sauce, and often when we're working with a client, they're not sure what their secret sauce is. So we ask some very specific questions, and usually in an hour or so, we've identified 4 to 7 steps that make up their unique mechanism. The unique mechanism is like the yellow brick road, and at the end of the yellow brick road is what? It's the land of Oz, right? That's where your client wants to be. So now we want to paint a vivid picture for them of just how amazing their bigger, better future is going to be so they can really see it and feel it. Finally, we want them to be energized for action. To help them, we need to create emotional contrast by showing them the very best case scenario of what life will be like when they are transformed. And we need to show them the absolute worst case that awaits them if they choose not to take action. Now, one of our clients, John Curry, recently finished his 3rd book with us, and it's on a super interesting topic that I know everybody's going to want to read about. It's about life insurance. It's called Life Insurance, the one financial tool everyone loves to hate. Now, who would ever think that you could write a book on life insurance and that prospects would actually read it? Well, turns out that they will. And I got to tell you, I was as shocked as you are. To promote the book, John sent out 2 emails to his list, just 2 emails. 52 people responded and asked for a copy of the book immediately. He mailed the books out to those people, and he invited those 52 people to a webinar on the same topic, life insurance. And 37 of the people, so 37 of 52, attended the webinar. Then 15 of those 37 who attended the webinar booked appointments to buy insurance from John. And that was just the very first time that he used the book. And I share this example with you because, if you're ever worried about, hey, is my topic too boring? Will anybody read it? This proves that no topic is too boring. If we can market successfully a life insurance book and create immediate results with it, no matter what business you're in, we can craft the topic so that it'll attract the kind of clients that you want. Here's what John has to say.
There are so many ways to capitalize on being an author. The purpose is not to set up a stand and sell books. The purpose is to have information that people want, and they see me as being the authority on that topic. Book writing process for Steve Gordon was very simple. I think writing books as part of your marketing is essential. I don't do a lot of advertising anymore. I saved a lot of money by stopping that. And then once they read the book, most of the time we get them back in the door because they're already so working with our team. It gives us a lot of credibility. I mean, the biggest value you get in working with Steve Gordon is he knows what he's doing, he's good at it. If you go out and get Steve and the rest of the folks at $1 Million Author, now you've got a team around you to help you get the book done.
All right, let's talk about secret number 2, the inverted viral launch. How to go from instant ROI on your book and create a buzz in your market. So this is the framework that we use for filling your pipeline with new potential clients as soon as your book is done. Now, I'm going to walk you through this framework, and we call it the inverted viral launch because it's a little bit contrarian. It goes against what most people think they should do with their book launch. And if you've ever struggled to keep your pipeline full, this is the answer. So when I wrote my first book, Unstoppable Referrals, I didn't know how to get traffic. I didn't know how to launch the book. I had a small list of under 1,000 people at the time, no budget for ads, no real idea how to structure the launch. And I started talking with people in my network about the book and sharing the pre-release manuscript, and people loved it and they were excited to help. And that's really the genesis of this framework. And it has 4 parts. Step 1 is to seed your network. Step 2 is to build your Dream 100 launch list. Step 3 is to create a buzz. Step 4 is then to hit bestseller status. And I was able to get 15 strategic partners to share my book when it launched. In about a week, 5,268 people had requested a copy of my new book, and our business doubled that year. We went from a 1.5 person local marketing consultant firm to a growing firm with clients around the world. And I was being asked to go on podcasts and flown across the country and paid to give speeches. As I said, you want to begin to seed the idea that you're writing a book from the very beginning of your book project. And this gets people excited and gets them paying attention to you. You already begin to take on leadership and authority position in the marketplace. Here's a great example of seeding your network on LinkedIn from our client, Judy Hayes. Here she's taken a photo of her laptop as she reviews a draft of her book that we sent her before it was published, and she sent it out to her network. And we've had clients do similar things and land new business directly off of posts just like these. So as you get closer to the launch of your book, you're going to build what we call your Dream 100 list. And this is the list of the centers of influence, the influential clients, the community leaders, media outlets, and others who can help you spread the word about your new book. Here's an example of a Dream 100 list. And the magic of the Dream 100 is that it gives you clarity and focus so that you can get much better and faster results than most authors who just spray and pray when their book launches. Next, and this is the real magic, when you launch the book, you're now organized so that on launch day, you go and create a real buzz, and you create a buzz fast. And, a lot of people will tell me, look, I'm writing this book, but how many people are really going to be excited about it? And you may not think that people will be excited about a book that you're going to write, but let me tell you, clients, your clients are going to be incredibly excited because now they're not just working with you, they're working with the one who wrote the book. They want to go share that. It reinforces their decision to work with you, and they'll share you through your book. And so it creates a flood of referrals as your book launches. And you never know where your book is going to land. This is an example of Judy's book. Her book found its way into the public library not long after the launch, where you just never know who's going to see it. But this is really the favorite thing that I get to do. I get emails and texts like this all the time. And this is from one of our clients, John Philippe.
I've been in marketing in my life. I launched my book, Prospecting Hacks. It was a very easy process. It was great to have kind of a safety net with Steve and his team. It also happens to be a great credibility thing for when I walk in the door. One client emailed me, say, hey, I saw your book on Amazon. Can you come meet with me? Within 3.5 hours, I had a $38,000 contract. I made 6-7 times what I spent on the process. I made $100,000 in 6 weeks with it. And Steve's process got me through that. I wish I would have thought of that 20 years ago. As a marketing tool, I would have done it back then.
That is the incredible power of a book to ignite all of the opportunity that's already close to you, that's hiding in plain sight, that is within your network. But until you do something truly noteworthy, like becoming a published and best-selling author, it's never going to surface for you. So now, to get that extra level of credibility, of course, we want to take you during the launch to bestseller status on Amazon. And that allows you to say you're a best-selling author, and it's super powerful. So after the launch of my first book, Unstoppable Referrals, in 2014, we were the #1 business bestseller for a few days. And it was an absolute thrill, huge accomplishment. But more importantly, it gave me the credibility to begin landing paid speaking gigs in front of bigger, better audiences of potential clients. And in fact, right after the launch, I landed my first ever paid speaking gig from someone who found my book because it was on the bestseller list. They flew me first class from Florida to Canada, put me up in a great hotel, paid me well for a 1-hour speech. Again, that's the power of having a best-selling book. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to get your book onto the Amazon bestseller list. All right, let's talk about secret number 3, the referral multiplier. How to turn even a small network into an ever-expanding pipeline of new clients. So getting your pipeline full at the book launch is great, but what you really want is a way to keep it full. And this is the framework that we use to keep your pipeline filled with new potential clients by referral only. I call it the referral multiplier. If you've ever struggled to keep your pipeline full or felt like you should be getting more referrals, this is the answer. So way back in 2012, I taught a whole series of referral workshops to over 300 entrepreneurs, advisors, and professionals. They loved the content. They seemed really eager to implement it. And so 6 months later, I went checking and talked to about a dozen of the attendees. And I got to tell you, it was completely deflating. They all agreed that they needed to focus on referrals, and they agreed that the stuff that I taught them was good, yet they had done nothing about it. So there was this block caused by the old method of asking for referrals. So I started to try and figure out why most trusted advisors fail to ask for and get the number of referrals that they should. And I discovered the block. There's too much risk. Asking someone to bring you their most valued relationships so that you can sell them something is a very risky ask and a very hard thing for clients and partners to do. And I found that if you approached with a gift of new ideas, packaged in a book, that it changed everything. People were open, they were willing, they were even excited to share my book. It made them look important. They know a best-selling author. That gives them social capital. And now I showed up to those new prospects not as a salesperson, but as the trusted authority who wrote the book about the problem that they faced. So let's get into this framework. There are 4 parts. Step number 1, shift from taking to giving. Step 2, let your ideas do the selling. Step 3, the value conversation. Step 4, exponential referrals. Now, most professionals average 1 or 2, maybe 3 referrals a month. Using the framework that I'm going to show you with their book, our clients average more than 7 referrals per client or referral partner. So you're sitting on a gold mine right now. It's right under your nose. You have people in your network or people that you could easily connect with who are already connected to your ideal clients. If you approach them in the right way, they'll see your book as a big value add for their people. And that's the idea of shifting from giving to taking. Stop going out and begging for referrals and show up now with a valuable asset with your best ideas packaged in a book so that you can give value to the networks of people that you're connected to. Now, most professionals have great ideas, deep wisdom, immense, vast experience that transforms the lives of their clients, and most keep all of those ideas locked away behind closed doors. As a result, you have to go around trying to sell yourself to people so that they can come and benefit from your ideas as a client. I think that's 100% backwards. Smart professionals put their best ideas into a book, then they let those ideas go out into the world and sell people on coming to them. When the prospect who has read your book shows up to a consultation, they know that they have a problem already. They wouldn't have read your book otherwise. They understand your solution because they discovered it in your book. And they know that they want you and only you to solve it because you're the one that wrote the book. It completely reverses the selling dynamic. In fact, there's no selling to do. All right, step 3, the value conversation. Value conversation is how you unlock all of these referrals. It's a simple, easy, authentic way to enlist your clients and partners in your mission. And it goes like this, and I'll use myself as an example. Hey, Bob, I'm so glad we were able to help you publish your book. And as you know, I'm passionate about helping others like you attract better clients, make more money using a book, which is why I wrote my latest book. And I'm on a mission to get that book into the hands of as many people as I can, as quickly as I can, because I know it's going to have a big impact and I'd love your help. If you're open to it, let's find a time in the next week or so to brainstorm the people in your world who'd benefit from all the things that have helped you so much. I'd love to send them a copy of my book as a gift from you. What do you say? Now, most people are going to say yes to that because that's an easy ask. You're giving them a way to give value to the people in their network. Many entrepreneurs I talk to tell me that their goal is to clone their best clients. They'll say something like, every client refers a client. And the problem with merely cloning clients is that all you get is slow and linear growth. And the good news is that to create exponential growth, you just need to be a little bit better. In fact, you just need at least 1.1 new referred clients from every client to create exponential growth. And our referral multiplier approach averages 7 referrals every time you have the value conversation with a client. So even if you don't ask every client, and even if you're only half as good, you're still going to create exponential growth without advertising, without complex funnels, and without needing to chase the next tactic. For about 85% of our clients, this becomes the only marketing strategy they ever need. No more mindless LinkedIn posting, no more spamming, no more worrying about SEO. And this method avoids all the risk that comes from depending on a platform like LinkedIn or Facebook for your leads. One of our clients, Dan Stavali, worked with us last summer, and before working with us, he said he was averaging just 1 to 2 referrals a month. And after taking him through our referral multiplier method, he used his book to bring in 26 referrals in the first month, and more every month since then. We even showed him how to have his team run the entire referral process to free him up. That's the power of having a book to multiply your referrals. All right, let's get into the bonus, the bestseller blueprint. I promised I would show you how to get your book to Amazon bestseller status, and this is where we're going to do it. So this is all about how to gain even more credibility with a #1 best-selling business book. So remember I told you earlier that some companies will charge between $5,000 to $15,000 to turn your book into a bestseller? I'm going to show you how to do it for free and in just 10 minutes. This is the framework that we use to take our clients to #1 Amazon bestseller status when they launch their books so that they get maximum credibility that can lead to invitations to podcasts and speaking engagements and even more. So before we dive into the blueprint, I want to dispel some myths about becoming a best-selling author. And myth number one is that you don't need to be a big list bestseller like New York Times or Wall Street Journal. Actually, Wall Street Journal doesn't even have a bestseller list anymore. Most people don't know that. The two big lists now are New York Times and USA Today. But you don't even need to be on those lists to have a 7-figure business book that brings you all the high-paying clients you want. Getting to the big lists isn't a secret. You pay to play. And plenty of companies will guarantee placement on one of the lists, and the investment is typically anywhere from $120,000 to $150,000 to get to New York Times bestseller status. The last number I heard was that you could expect to invest somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000. Now, most businesses don't have a book idea with a large enough market to get on one of the big lists. And using the blueprint that I'm going to show you how to be a #1 Amazon bestseller. This is going to give you the credibility of being able to say you're a best-selling author without the big investment. All right, let's get into it. Step one is to choose the right categories on Amazon. So if you've ever been on Amazon and looked around a little bit, you'll notice that they have categories that they put all of the different books in. And there are thousands of categories. There are categories for nonfiction and for fiction and business and every other thing that you could think of. And there are subcategories and subcategories. And to get to bestseller status, what we advise our clients to do is choose 3 categories. Amazon gives you 3 categories to put your book in. That category needs to be reasonably appropriate for your book. And you want to find a category that has a relatively low sales volume. And we have a special calculator that we use with our clients that we show them how to go and find out what that #1 bestseller in that category is selling on a daily basis. That's the number we need to beat. We need to, in a day, we need to sell more books than the #1 in that category to be #1. It's very simple. And we can go and find out how many books are selling in that category. And so that's the very first step, is choose the right categories. And now that we know what categories we're going to go in and how many books we need to sell, step 2 is to build your launch team. And here you're going to create a list of the clients and the friends and the close contacts who would absolutely buy your book just because you asked. And usually you only need 40 or 50 people. So you're going to send 2 very specific emails, and we give templates that are just fill in the blank for all of our clients. And then you're going to send 1 more email on launch day, and then you're going to sit back and watch. And everyone on your launch list is going to go buy your book that day. We always recommend that they buy the Kindle version because it's generally easier to get bestseller status with the Kindle version of the book. And you're going to sit back and watch. And you get to have fun all day watching your book climb the Amazon charts. When you hit bestseller status, you want to capture that moment and take a screenshot so that you can use it immediately in promoting the book to your network and your audience. And so we always tell our clients, we give them templates for social media to go post on LinkedIn or post on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you've got a following, and tell people, hey, I just hit bestseller status today. And that's going to create even more buzz, and it's going to raise your status and credibility even more. Now that you're a bestseller, we want to leverage that bestseller status. And here are 9 ways that we recommend using your new status. Number 1, add a bestseller seal to your book cover. Number 2, add it to your LinkedIn profile and title and all of your other social media profiles. So anybody that comes to check you out, which you know prospects are doing, they see that you're a best-selling author. Add it to your email signature so that every time you send out an email, people see your positioning as a best-selling author. Add it to your website. Use it to gain local, regional, and national media coverage. The media always wants to interview authors, and they love interviewing best-selling authors. Use it to land podcast appearances, speaking gigs, both free and paid. Use it to increase your credibility and referability. And finally, use it in your advertising and your direct mail on TV and radio. Now, one of our clients, Mary Riesenbeck, used her book launch to launch an entirely new consulting business from scratch. She hit #1 Amazon bestseller status, and that led to major media coverage which led to clients seeking her out and hiring her. And she said it was almost unbelievable. She got national media coverage so fast, and it really just gave a flood of new clients to her new business. So let me ask you a question. If you followed what I showed you in Secret 1 and you had an easy book structure to follow that's proven, and then you did what I showed you in Secret number 2, and you used the inverted viral launch to create an immediate buzz about the book and create a buzz in your market. And then you went on and you used Secret number 3 to get clients and partners to join you in your mission to help people by gifting them your book and referring you. Then they went out and opened the door for you to their very best contacts. Do you think you could be successful? Let me ask you another question. Are you excited by what we've just talked about? Are you feeling a little bit overwhelmed because we've covered a lot in a really short time? Now, obviously, it's impossible to show you everything you need to write, publish, and promote your book so that you become a known expert and land dream clients in a short presentation like this. But I've tried to cover as much as I possibly can. Now, I found a program called the $1 Million Author, and we've seen incredible results with it so far. And what makes it unique is that we help you not just write your book in 30 days and get it published in about 90 days, but we help you write the kind of book that will get you out of the shadows so that you're no longer the best kept secret in the industry and you're getting 5 to 15 new client appointments every week. And they aren't just regular client appointments, but the kind of clients that are more committed, a better fit, they're much more motivated. And so for you, what you could expect in this 12-week time is that not only will you finish your book, but you'll land your first client that will pay for the program. And in fact, we guarantee it. And after that, you're going to just be generating more and more clients, and it's going to be all profit from there. So we run a business that one of our highest values is integrity. And so we want to talk to as many people who see this video as possible. We want to point you in the right direction. We'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And if we're the perfect people and like there's a match and there's this synergy and we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we can help you, then we'll explore together how we can work to get your book published. And if not, we're going to give you incredible resources and you can be on your way and you can just be thankful that you've had a great experience, and we can be thankful that we're in integrity and we're not just taking somebody's money because we can. So I've set aside some time where you can meet with my team over the next few days. You can use the link that's in the description under this video, and we'll see if we're the right solution to help you get your book finally done and start getting new clients. So the next step is to go down in the description, click the link, book a time to talk with one of our bestseller strategists. Let's get you on the path to being a best-selling author.
It was one of those things, oh, that kind of be nice to have a book, but never gave it any serious thought until maybe like a year ago. And then I really started looking at, okay, if I'm going to write a book, how am I going to do it? I found Steve Gordon and the $1 Million Author program. It added a lot of structure to the process, and I saw where it could go. He had a specific path that he would take you down as to how to build a book. And what I trusted with Steve was he knew how to impact a reader. So using my specific industry knowledge along with his process for how do you take the reader along a transformative journey to where at the end they would decide, oh, I need to work with this firm. I need to work with this author.
We spent a lot of money on marketing. We spent a lot of money on PR, but we are not a company that grows based on Google search or SEO or pay-per-click. We grow because people talk about us online and in person. Hey there, I'm Brett Tremblay, CEO of Get Staffed Up. We're an offshore staffing company purely out of Latin America. And I felt like putting my thoughts, the program that we've developed, the roadmap for how to grow a firm with virtual assistants, virtual staff, putting that in writing so that we could give it to people, something tangible, something to put their hands on. It was just time. So we started the process in September of 2022, and we launched the book in May of 2023. This is my second foray into publishing a book, and I learned so much from the first time that I learned not to do it myself. If we tried to do a whole book on our own, learn how to publish ourselves, learn how to organize it ourselves, it would have complicated the process, it would have slowed me down, it would have caused frustration. It would have cost money because time is money. So why would I try to do all those things myself? I had purchased a book of Steve's 2 or 3 years before. It was a book about podcasts as a way to have conversations with people that you normally wouldn't be able to have conversations with. And that was really mind-blowing for me. And it's a book he wrote many years ago. And the power of the book is that all these years later, it got him business doing something new. So because I had purchased the book from him, he added me to an email list, and I got an email from him. I didn't recognize the name. I had to put all this together later. I just saw a $1 million book, and that captured my attention. And it was just top of mind awareness. Like, I happened to be needing what he emailed me at the time. And so I signed up for his Facebook course on how to write a book. And it was like later I realized, oh my gosh, this is the author who I had previously read a book on. So that's the power of a book without him lifting a finger, really, other than being smart enough to add me to a newsletter list, delivering business all those years later. Steve and his team have a great process. They help you organize the chapters, get the themes together, and then they do a deep dive into each chapter. Like, what are the points you want to make in this chapter? Why are you making these points? What are the further points? And then his team takes all of those detailed notes and starts putting them into the written text for your book. And Steve's point was like, not everybody that gets the book is going to be a potential client, but the ones who are facing those struggles, you got to go deep and then deeper. And then the rest, they're already sold. You just hope they buy what you're selling, but they know they need a fix. And I think that was super important for me to understand in the process. When you read Steve's $1 million book, it's really phenomenal and it's organized and it made the point. And I wanted something that I was really going to be proud of. I knew that I had a critical audience and it needed to be really well done. Through the process, I realized that we had something bigger and better to sell than we were, which was not just being a VA company, but selling strategic positions. And we really used the book to launch the second part of our business. We staff 7 main positions now at law firms, not just executive assistants or virtual assistants. And that was a cool thing to do in conjunction with publishing the book. When I got the book, it was a really special moment. My kids were excited. I was excited, obviously. And it was just neat to feel the final product in your hands. The first time I knew the book worked was because Steve Gordon himself followed some of the advice and he hired 2 of the positions for his company that we suggested in the book, and he had his best month ever and he got himself out of sales. And that testimonial alone was worth it. And I had a friend call me that I hadn't spoken to in several years and say, I read your book and I have all these questions. And that's when I knew that it was going to be a powerful book. The book has gotten me in a lot more podcasts and a lot more credibility. When we're asked to speak, it's like, what do you want to speak on? Well, let me speak on the book and then let me hand out copies. And whoever wants an autographed copy, I'll do that right then and there. The book has transformed conversations for us because instead of saying, I think I need to hire, but I don't know who to hire, we use the book to restructure our offerings, and we staff 7 main positions at a law firm or business. And so now our sales conversations are, do you need a legal assistant? Do you need a receptionist? Do you need an intake specialist? Do you need a marketing assistant? Like, what are the things that are clogging up your time? Oh, you know what? You need a billing clerk, instead of just this like broad area of executive assistant or virtual assistant. And that has been really helpful for us as a business. The book has absolutely paid for itself in the first 90 days in spades. I mean, we've got a lot of new business and a lot more coming in. For our business, the average person spends about $2,000 a month. If we get about 20 clients and those 20 clients are with us for 2 years, then yeah, we have $1 million book. And I think that's low hanging fruit. Like, I think that'll be very easy to surpass.
We were pretty traditional in that in the old days, we would do direct mail. And then of course we got into digital marketing. People kept coming to me saying, you should write a book. And so once Steve and I started talking, I realized that it's a bazillion % return on investment. A gentleman loved the book and he said, I want to buy a book for all of the people I work with. So he bought 300 copies of it and had those distributed. He had myself come in as keynote speakers in front of the group. 60 of them would be targeted clients for us, other than the size of agencies we like to work with, the larger ones. We wouldn't have had that without Steve. I am now a published author. It very changes everything. We've never regretted making the investment in the book.
I have actually gotten outside help for my book in the past and interview me to write the book. And that didn't really work out very well. What ended up happening is I had a lot of really rough audio files that didn't really do much. I attempted hiring a ghostwriter. That wasn't very effective either. I talked to Steve, and I've known him for a number of years, and he's a good guy, and I know he's written a lot of books. It was really helpful for Steve and his team to come in and really help me be able to put this together in a lot less time than it would take me on my own.
I think who you become in people's mind shifts a little bit when you've authored a book.
And you're right. My first 30 days, with your tools really helped me. I mean, I had that book written in 30 days.
Well, exactly what you said going to happen happened. And what having a book does is it just brings you to another level that people respond to you differently because you have a book. And that makes all the difference in the world.
And we'd exchanged a few messages, but not a lot. And he contacted me. He said, I know quite a few patent attorneys and I'm connected with a bunch on LinkedIn. But as far as I can tell, you're the only one who wrote a book.
Once we got the framework, it was like, yeah, once we came up with the elevate, expand, engage, and the outstanding cover design that your team came up with, it all clicked for me.
Mine was less than 90 days. And I was up and published.
People have been inviting me then to be guests on podcasts and things like that, and to speak at events.
My book became an Amazon best-selling book very quickly. And with that, got more people reaching out to me. It went above and beyond word of mouth.
I write some articles for Entrepreneur magazine for their online site. And I get frustrated because I don't get very much traffic, or I've never really received business that I can directly attribute to one of those articles. But the book, just sending it and even talking about it on LinkedIn, it gets a far better response.
I got featured in major media. And then with that, I've gotten more clients. They're contacting me.
As soon as my book came out, there's one person in particular. In the last year, I've got probably about 12 referrals from him. And in the previous 5 years, I had one. I'm kind of an introvert, and getting out there and talking to people and prospecting and all that isn't the easiest thing in the world for me. But when I've got a book, it's confidence for me. These are quality prospects coming in.
But I would say to a lot of people that are thinking of doing books, it's very hard to do it on your own. So I think what you have to do is first of all, it's an investment. So I thought of this as part of my marketing. This is my marketing budget. It's an investment, but it's worth it because I could see that there was going to be a return on that investment.
When I look at what your program offers, I can't even believe what a great deal it was.